everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things, and today I have my whole what did I read in June versus what was I gonna read in June, and what is my July TBR. At this point, why do I have TBRs? But you know what? It's exciting. It gives me like an idea of what I'm just wanting to read versus what I ended up reading, and I like it. Plus, plus I started doing. Oh, my hair feels so weird today. Plus, I started doing the Goodreads challenges, and on the 13th, I'm starting a summer wing challenge, and I'm so excited. And I just gotta stay focused. um, so look at that. Isn't it? I'm so glad I made a journal this year. I think I'm gonna need to do this every year. It makes my soul happy. I realized the other day that I was behind on writing some reviews, and I was like, oh, and I had been really like frazzled, and so I was like, and I sat down and I did my book journaling because I had read like 3 books and I didn't journal about them. And I just had their sticker it's not a sticker, it's a piece of paper, a picture glued on. Next year, I'm totally getting sticker paper. Um, but I sat down and I wrote about the books, what I thought, and, did my star rating and all that stuff. And I was like, I feel better. Um, so let's get started on what I read in June. First, check out my bookshelf. I added a shelf, so it looks so cool now. I have a feeling that before the year ends, I'm gonna have to add another shelf. But yeah, I made sure I spread out the books a little bit, so there's that. And then I'm gonna just jump right over to my TBR versus what I read page. And that is because last time I got really confuddled and confused on what I was doing. And I'm going to go through I'm going to do this TBR versus what I read. And then I'm going to show you the stuff that I read or talk about the stuff that I read. Give short little reviews like yes, no, maybes. And then we'll go back and talk about the stats and my book of the month. And then we'll talk about July's TBR. So, whew. All right. What was I going to read in June? Well, I was going to read Wrong Hostage, The Heat Wave, The Staircase, The Magic Forest, The Intruder, A Book from the Dresden Files, and Delicious in Dungeon, Book 5. If you could see there, some of those are checked off. What did I read? I read Carrie, The Incandescent, Diavola, Kiki's Delivery Service, Designs to Die For, The Intruder, The Hidden Staircase, The Last Beekeeper, One and Only, Delicious in Dungeon, Magic Forest Fairy Unicorns, and The Stand. Kiki's Delivery Service was from May, and so was Designs to Die For, and then The Last Beekeeper was from April. I think that's it for the past books. Yeah. So why did I read so much that wasn't on my list? That's because of the Goodreads challenge. And we'll talk about that after I talk about the books that we read. So let me flip to Carrie was the first one, I believe, that I finished. June. Yeah. So first, I finished Carrie. I listened to this one. It was part of the Goodreads challenge. Well, it wasn't. It was a book I chose for the Goodreads, one of the Goodreads things. I listened to it in 3 days. It was one I had to listen to on headphones because I didn't want my 5-year-old to listen to it. And yes, I gave this 4 stars. When I read this the first time, I think I was in high school, and it wasn't the same as now. Like, I mean, obviously it's the same book, but it didn't, it hit me a different way. Like, I saw it as like maybe the teacher's side, like, oh yeah, I probably would have slapped her at first too, and then been like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Are you okay? Like, wait, this is your first one? Because apparently she gave off that vibe. Like Harry Potter, because he had the Horcrux in him. Um, we'll talk about that another time. Would I recommend this book? Yes. Was a horror book, so if you're not into horror, maybe not. It wasn't that, to me, it wasn't that scary. There are elements of like magic. She like uses her power to hurt people at towards the end of homecoming, prom, whatever it is. Um, and so that part is a little like, ooh. And then this book does have some SA in it, but not Carrie. That doesn't happen to Carrie. Um, the mean person. Anyway, um, my favorite character was Tommy, and he says, high school isn't a very important place. When you're going, it's a big deal, but when it's over, nobody really thinks it was great unless they were veered up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write that down. um, then I listened to The Incandescent. I actually really enjoyed this book. I see mixed reviews on this book. Like, there are some people who are like, "Ugh, this book was absolute trash," and then other people are like, "Oh my gosh, this was amazing." I I gave this 4 stars. I thought about giving this 4.5 stars. There is slight spice. They go to bed together, but they don't talk about what happens into bed. And into bed, they don't talk about what happened in the bed. Um, would I recommend this? Yes, yes, I would. It was good. It's a contemporary fantasy, which I've never really thought of those two together, but I guess they are. Anyway, um, my favorite character is the Phoenix Demon. Um, I I can't tell you why. Um, and I can't tell you my favorite quote because it has a word in it, and I'm not gonna say it on here right now because my kid can hear me, and we're trying to watch how we talk. This book was sort of like Harry Potter from the adult's point of view. And if the adult was teaching the older kids, and she also thought of the whole entire school as hers because she was in charge, and it I don't know how else to explain that. And because the Phoenix Demon is in her, it also thinks of the school and the students and the teachers as theirs. It's kind of sweet, and the magic is a little bit different. It's not the same as like, I feel like what you see in Harry Potter is like dumbed down. This talks about heavier stuff, heavier topics, and the students, they do kind of save the day. I'm not gonna lie. Her students, she has a class of 6, and when they start noticing little things happening, when and their teacher is like, it kind of ignoring it, and she's starting to change. Her little group of, like, they're at their top year. I don't know I can't remember what it's called. 6th years or whatever. I don't know. A level, like they're the highest grade that they have in the school. They're about to graduate. They secretly get together and start trying to figure out how to help their teacher, and instead of trying to do it themselves, because they're like, we might be too close to this, they go and first they try all of the teachers, and the teachers are like, oh no, she's just trying, she's trying to be healthier. Oh no, this is good for the school. And none of the teachers see what's going on. So they leave and they go get a professional to take care of them, to take care of their teacher. And I the end was kind of, it just kind of fizzled, but leading up to the end was really good. I guess they kind of got a happily ever after, but at the same time, it was like, oh, so sorry for you. And then I finished reading Kiki's Delivery Service. I did a video on this, so if you want my full review, you could go and watch that. Yes, I recommend this. I gave this 4 stars. This is a middle grade coming of age witchy book, and it has adventure, and it's summertime, and it's hot because they're in Japan. My favorite character was her dad, and my favorite quote was from a random lady on the beach who had a toddler. Kids are cute, but such a handful. Being a mom is rough. And I was like, oh, is it? It is so. Then, I read Designs to Die For. This was on my adult reading challenge. I gave this a 4 stars also. It was kind of, I felt like it needed more excitement, but it was well written, and it was like, it took you places, and you got to be part of the investigation. It's a cozy mystery, and my favorite character was her neighbor, Vivi. Also, my favorite part, not my favorite part, but my favorite line of things. These ladies are crazy when they're together, okay? Her neighbor, Vivi, just came over when the day she moved in, and like walked in and was like, hey, I brought lasagna. Like, hi? And so they get kidnapped at one point, and our main character, I don't remember her name now. Hold on. Did I not write her name down anywhere? Kate. Kate goes running one direction, and Vivi runs the other way, because their captor is not very good at being a kidnapper. And so they run different directions, and she trips in a pothole, and the guy who's chasing her was running at her so fast, and it's in the dark, and he didn't notice that she tripped, and he, like, full force falls over her and lands on his face, and she gets up and runs the other direction, and in her mind she says, oh, that looked like it hurt. And then she goes, oh, my hands burn. I wonder how long, she sees that there's like blood dripping, and she's like, I wonder how long it'll be until I can crochet again. And then she starts laughing, because this is not the time to think that. This is based in Texas, and I had some issues with the weather that we were talking about. Oh, yes, she opened her windows. It was a nice walk around Fort Worth. What? In September, we're still having 90-degree weather. I don't live in Fort Worth, but I live, like, close enough to it. It's not much different. They do get snow sometimes. Anyway, and then I read The Intruder. This was for my book club, I believe. Did we read this for book club? Yeah, this was the one I read for book club. I gave this a 3 stars. It wasn't a bad book, but I feel like the title told me that there was going to be an intruder. And technically there wasn't an intruder. She invited the girl in. Unless she was intruding on the shed outside, but she wasn't there very long. So, I don't know. Like, there was something about this book that just, nah. Would I recommend it? Yeah, it was still a pretty good book. It just didn't, with the name had me thinking someone was going to break in the house after this little girl. The only thing that broke anything was the storm. I guess she couldn't. There's already a book called the house guest, the guest. Yeah, the guest. I read that, right? So I guess she couldn't. She couldn't name it that. My favorite character was Anton, and my favorite quote was actually a thought. I love sleeping alone. Always have. And I'm like, same. I love sleeping alone. Yeah, this is just gonna stay a 3 star, maybe a 3.5, but I can't give it more than that. Mostly because our main character, she had these moments. She was supposed to be a teacher, okay, and sometimes she was like, I was like, how did you work with kids? You had training for kids. I can't tell you why I'm so upset about this because it'll spoil the book. So I'm just gonna move on. The Last Beekeeper. Also, if you notice, this page has some discoloration on it. It's because the next page is my decorated page because I had reached 10 more books. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cute if I put little coffee stains on here. And I didn't think it through before I did it. It was late. I was tired. So The Last Beekeeper. I did a full video on this also. So if you want to go check out my entire talk about this, you can go to that video. 4 stars, maybe 4.5 stars. If I think of it from like a middle grade, this is a middle grade dystopian book. Yeah, a middle grade dystopian coming of age, but also technology is bad. I mean, it's not bad. The way it's being used is bad. I thought this was a really good. Maybe it could help kids think about how they use technology. Maybe it could help some adults think about how they use technology. And getting your information from one source would be good. Okay? Don't just read the same person over and over again for your information. They might be lying to you. Like in this book, they were all taught by like the only book they were allowed to read for classes was written by the mayor's sister. Biased information, I guess. I don't know what that's called, but it was good. And it also talks about reading the contract before you accept, which our main character did not do, which is why they're in this situation. It was good. I really liked it. It isn't. I just remembered that I wrote this in glitter, and I rubbed my hand across the page. Now I have glitter all over my hand. Just gonna wipe it on my shirt, and then I'll have glitter on my shirt. Okay. Watch me wipe my eye. How come you only have one eyeshadow? But yeah, I really liked this book, and I recommend it for anyone who works with technology or any kids that need to use technology. Yeah, it was good. All right, and then my decorated page. It did not turn out how I wanted it, but it's a coffee themed, and it smells like coffee. Only because I haven't taped it yet because I wanted to make sure the coffee stains were completely dry. And this morning, it was still sitting open on this page. It smells like caramel coffee. Yeah. So my kid helped me pick out some of my stickers that had coffee cups on it, and I wanted to make sure that I had some books on the page also, obviously, because coffee and books go together. And then I have this one, Fictional Wanderlust, and I was like, I'm gonna put that on here. And I got my book a day keeps reality away, because it does. And then I got my rainbow color books here because it was Pride Month. I had a Pride sticker, but I couldn't find it. And then one more chapter. One more chapter with a coffee cup. Probably shouldn't be drinking coffee that late at night, so that's on me. Then I read Delicious in Dungeon Volume 5. And this one was so cute. I love this series. I am loving it. I gave this 4 stars. Yes, I recommend it. Start with the first one so you understand what's happening. My favorite character is Marcel. She has a huge battle scene in this one. And before this, she is kind of like docile and sweet and meek. And yeah, she has a tongue on her sometimes, like, and she's like usually the moral compass. And then this evil elf magician comes out and is like throwing old magic at her, and she's like, oh, finally. And she starts using her dark magic back at it, and she's kind of yeah, like, I was so happy. I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. Also, there's this funny part where they run into some dryads, and dryads are usually naked females, and Sensei covers Chilchuck's eyes. And Chilchuck's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I gotta protect you. I gotta protect your boyhood and all that stuff. And Chilchuck's like, I'm an adult. Because he's a half breed, so he's short. He's short, and everyone keeps treating him like a child. And after the whole dryad thing, Sensei sits Chilchuck down and is like, "Let me tell you about the birds and the bees." And he's like, "You don't have to. I already know." He's like, "Well, you said you didn't. Your father passed away when you were young, so I'll take it on myself to explain." And he's like, I already know. And it's hilarious. And then there's also a point where Marcel has mana depletion, and she's just sort of like dazed and out of it. And they eat these melons, or these like squash that have like faces on them. And Chilchuck's like, this is not okay. We need to stop him. And she's like, we need food. It's light, it's easy, it's a manga, so you could just look, you don't even have to read it. Just look at the pages. Just look at the pictures, you could figure out what's happening. Then I finished reading The Magic Forest, part of the Fairy Unicorn, the first book in the Fairy Unicorn series. Me and my kid were reading this chapter a night, and she really liked this one. We gave it 3.5 stars. She wanted to give it 5 stars. I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to tell you too much. It's a children's fantasy. My favorite character was the Unicorn King, and he said, I would never have asked you to put yourself in danger like that. And I liked this book because the kids get in trouble for putting themselves in danger. And I was like, that is how it should be. Children should not be asked to go and fight the troll demon or climb a mountain or fly over the ocean in dangerous waves. Um, so if you want to know more about that story, go check out that video. Then I listened to The Stand. I actually have this book. I was going to start by physically reading it and then switch over to the audiobook, but just as I went to pick it up, my library was like, it's your turn in line. And this is a long book. I gave it four stars. I went really hard on the dystopian for a few days, and I need to prepare just in case, okay? Because there are some things that happen in The Stand that are happening nowadays, and I'm like, uh, uh, um, so this book was over 1,000 pages long, and that's why I had to listen to it. 4 stars, 2, like 1.5 spice, because they do talk about the act of 2 people. And my favorite was, how are you pregnant? Well, you put your penis in my vagina. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that is not what I meant. I know how, but how? Like, you were on the pill. And she's like, well, obviously something was wrong with them, or maybe I forgot that day, or, she like gives out several. My favorite character was Nick. He was deaf and mute. They often called him deaf and dumb. You have to remember, this book was written in a time where certain words were used that are not polite to use today. And the N-word is used, and I'm just gonna say the word because it sounds weird if I call it the R word. So the word retard is used in this book on a man because one of the characters, he's autistic, but like he's got kind of the mind of a child, but he can work like a man. Does that make sense? Anyway, but you have to keep that in mind. This was written in the 80s when people didn't know as much as they know now. And I think that if we went back and tried to change the wording in this, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as mean. Because they even talk about it. Look, Stephen King was before his time, I think is what it's called. Or is before his time. Or maybe he's psychic. Stephen King's holding down on us. He knows more than he's letting on. He's one of my favorite peoples in the whole. Like, I want to meet him. I would be so happy. I just want to go to Maine. I just want to go to Maine. But he even talks about how Nick, I think it's Nick, he thinks, oh, how funny, a deaf mute and a retard. And then he's like, that word just felt bad to him. Like, why? Like, ugh. He didn't even want to say, like, he didn't even want to think it or write it. And there's several times that they talk the people talk about how they, they don't like certain words, but that's the word that they have for it, so they're using it. This book was about good and evil. There's a lot of talk about God and religion in this one. And some people might not agree with what's in this book, and that is okay. But it was a good read, and I think there might be some cautionary tales in this book. They all live happily ever after, kinda. I feel like there should be a second book. And then I read Diavola. I gave this 4.5 stars, guys, and 1 spice. And yes, I recommend it if you're an adult. This is a horror supernatural thriller book, and it was awesome. I loved it. I almost gave it 5 stars. I didn't because there are some parts of it I was like, why? Why? My favorite character was our main character, Anna. There's this part. Okay, so they're summering in Italy, and they're staying in a house that is possessed, haunted, whatever you want to say, by a really bad spirit. And everyone in the town knows about this house. And so every time the family comes in, there's people like crossing themselves and doing like the evil eye warding around them and like spitting as they cross their paths and stuff like that. And then they're eating ice cream. And there's some old ladies, some grannies, if you will, and they're sitting and they have their heads covered, like they're like the old-fashioned ladies, and they're looking at the girls and they're like waving at them and all of that stuff, and the girls are are trying out their Italian that their aunt's been teaching them, and they're like ciao, and the all the ladies are like, oh, good job, and their mom goes, what? Why are they staring at us? And Anna, our main character, goes, oh, yes, don't you know? Italian grannies like children, love them, actually. They fatten them up and bake them into breads. I was like, yes. Anna's family is terrible. They treat her like a slave, pretty much, and they put all the blame on her about everything since she was a child. She had the class pet. She had to take it home for the spring break or whatever, and it died. Oh, well, you must have gotten up and killed it. What? She was asked to go to prom, and her sister's prom. She's a few years younger. She went to her sister's prom and had started her period. So she was in the bathroom when her sister was being crowned prom queen. And her sister's date was also not there during that crowning. And so the story was, oh, well, he was with you. And she's like, really? Because did you see my dress? And it's just like one thing, like every little thing is because of her. And she's like, how? How? And so when things start happening at this house, they're like, oh, typical Anna. And she's like, one time they come back from doing their outings and everything in the house is destroyed. And they're like, oh, well, you were the last one to leave the house. And she's like, I literally was right behind you. How did I destroy the whole house in 2 minutes? Or the kids left their milk, the cereal bowls out, and by the time they got back, maggots were already like it decayed super fast. Like how did Anna do that? Anyway, the way this ended was interesting. Interesting. I I really liked this book. There were some parts that I was just like, okay, we don't need to know the same thing over and over again. Then I read The Hidden Staircase by Carolyn Keene, and I gave this 4 stars, and yes, I recommend it. It's a middle grade mystery, and it's Nancy Drew. Need I say more? I made a whole video on this, so if you want to go check that out, you can. I first said that Mr. Carson Drew was my favorite character, but I kind of feel like Nancy will always be my favorite character in these. So I was trying to pick someone else. Is the house haunted? You'll have to read and find out. Then I read One and Only by Maureen Go. I think it's Goo. I gave this 4.5 stars. I'm not really feeling 4.5, but maybe like 4.25. Yes, there is some spice in this book. Do I recommend it if you're an adult? Sure. I mean, this month was a really good reading year or month for me. It's a contemporary romantic comedy, and there are parts in it when there were some of the parts felt like they were like rushed, and other parts felt like they were slow. My favorite character was Mar, which is her best friend, and cusses like a sailor, and even her kids cuss, and just no one bats an eye. And my favorite quote is, "You find you're fated. You meet them, and then you decide if you want to stay with them." And that is important for the whole book, because when our main character was, oh, by the way, she's 40. She's turning 40 whenever the book starts, and she is 40 whenever the book is going on. When she was 30, her grandma read her fate. She is part of a Korean family. I think it's Korean. Oh man, I totally forgot. Anyway, she's part of a family where generations and generations, there has been a few women in the family that can see your past to help you find who you're fated to be with, by the people you were fated with before. Well, in this case, when she turned 30, her grandma read her and said that she was supposed to be with Daniel Nam. Since then, she'd been searching for him. She even had her friend having a PI go out and search for someone named Daniel Nam. And she's just been playing around with people, if you know what I mean. And then nothing serious. And then she meets Ellis. He saves her. Kind of. I mean, she didn't really need saving, but he showed up to help keep her calm and call the ambulance because she fell off her bike and rolled down an embankment. And before she got to the water, she hit a big bush. It's kind of like, it's hilarious. And after that, he finds her at her work and makes sure she's okay. And, well, first he finds the bikers that she was with, and then they give her work, and then he goes to her work. And he takes her out for coffee. She's trying to take him out for coffee to thank him, and he's like, no, it's on me. And there's an 11-year age gap, and she's pointing it out the whole time, and she's picking on it, like, oh, well, back when I was a girl. Stuff like that. Or he orders a bunch of food to sample and then take home the rest. And she's like, "Are you gonna eat all this?" And he explains that, "Oh no, I'm probably." He's like, "I probably could, but I'm gonna eat little bits of each of it, and then I'm gonna take it home, and then whatever I like, I'm gonna keep eating, and then whatever I didn't like, I'm gonna throw away." And so she starts sampling stuff with him, but she's like, "Oh yeah, well you're a growing boy, so." Anyway, they hit it off, and then turns out his boss is Daniel Nam. And so she's drawn to both of these guys for different reasons. Like, physically, on the inside, when Ellis walks in, she feels like this, like, wrap of wind around her. And when Daniel walks into a room, she feels like cozy. And I was like, the whole time, I'm like, who? What? And yeah, it ends up pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Next we're gonna talk about actually next I need to pause. Okay, if you're seeing this and you're like, hey, things are different, or the lighting is different, or hey, you're not drinking coffee anymore, it's because I had to stop making the video, take my kid to a library event. They made terrariums with little dinosaurs in them. And now I'm back to finish my video, and I have water. And not quite sure what I was talking about before I stopped. But I'm gonna just pick up with I didn't read anything else on my series, so no added there. My book of the month was Diavola. So I'm sensing a dark theme here because January was Impact Winter, and February was Letter 26, and March was In the Lives of Puppets, and April was Grave Peril, and May was Hazelthorn, and now we have Diavola, which is for June, and they all kind of have a dark undertone to them, so that tells you what kind of person I am. Nothing in my graveyard right now, but I did technically reread Carrie because I've read it before, and this time I listened to it, and it was actually kind of interesting to listen to. If you look at my year at a glance, I read 12 books, which was 1,452 pages. And hours-wise, I listened to 97 hours and 2 minutes. And then chapters, that was 384. 6 of those I've owned. 5 were from the library. 2 were on Audible. That doesn't add up. What did I miss? Did 7 of those I own? You know what? It's just a guesstimation at this point, right? Okay, so if you look at my longest and shortest page, for June, my longest book was The Stand, coming in at 47 hours and 48 minutes, and my shortest book was The Magic Forest, the first book in the Fairy Unicorns, at 105 pages. This is a sweet little book. Let's see. I got to check off Designs to Die For off of my 2026 reading challenge for adults. Lean this way. I got to check off The Hidden Staircase and Kiki's Delivery Service. Yeah. For no, and the wait. How many of these did I read this month? Yeah. All right. So I got 3 books checked off on the 2026 Preteen Teen Reading Challenge. Exciting. I didn't realize that I read that many books for the Preteen Teen Reading Challenge this month. Or I guess I was finishing them. Anyway, that's fun. Also, if you want to do either of these challenges with me, I'll leave the description for them in the. I'm sorry, I'll leave a link for my Google Docs. Whoa. So you can print it out for yourself. And a way to get the books. And then off my PaperPie reading challenge, I got to check off Magic Forest. And on my book club books, I got to check off The Intruder. So I got to check off something on each of my challenges. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I got to add a little picture to my A to Z challenge page, which was the one and only for O. And got plans. I think this month I'm gonna get N done for July. I think I'm gonna get N done. And M and N are gonna get done for sure this month. I put the stand in my gray spot. I might have a book in the future that is a lighter gray to put there, so right now they're just all taped down. I didn't read any classics, unless you count the stand. Is the stand a classic? Is Carrie a classic? I don't know. And I didn't read any books that my friend suggested. But if you look at this Goodreads challenge, I'm so happy, guys. I got all of the little bookmarks because I got a book for each of them, and I'm so happy. So, the spring challenge was April to June, April 1st to June 30th. Page turner, you have to read 2 books for, and that's easy. And speed reader, you have to read 3 books for, so the 2 that you've already read plus another one. And then book boss, it's 5 books. So the 3 you've previously read, and then 2 more books, and so those got done real fast. Their community pick that I chose was The Intruder, which was also my book club book of the month for June. And then trending book was Hazelthorn. I loved that book. I need to read some more by E.G. What are the C.G. by Drews, whoever that is. Marathon read, which was like a long book to read. The only one that I could get from the library to listen to was The Stand, and thank goodness that I got it when I did, or else I wouldn't have finished it. Editors picked Diavola. I have been hearing so much about that book, and I was like, yes, thank goodness I can get that. Books on books. So that one was How to Survive a Horror Story. That was one of my book club books. AAPI Heritage, one and only. It was really good. Summer read, Carrie. Escapist read, How to Survive a Horror Story again, because it counts, one book can count for more than one if it's in the recommended section. I don't know how it works. And Pride Pick was Incandescent. That was there was some romance in it. It was nice. And yeah, I didn't read any of my NetGalley books. Technically, I read like a chapter of one, but I don't have it marked down as reading it because, well, yeah. So now we get to talk about July, because today is July 2nd, I believe, whenever you're watching this. And July. So this is my TBR for July, and I already prepped to start some of these. I technically did start the Dresden File book. I am reading Death Mask, I believe. It's the 5th book in the series. I started listening to it the other day when I had nothing to listen to. I was like in an in-between place, and I was like, well, I don't want to start anything too soon. That is like for book club, I won't start our book club book for July until it's July. mostly because I don't want to forget what it's about before the night that we all get together. And I have the Delicious in Dungeon book 6 in my room right now. None of this is true. Is the July my July TB my July book club book. So I'll start that one when it's closer to the day that we all meet. This Grylls book, Bear Grylls, will not be getting read because because I don't have that book unless I can find it at the library, which I don't think they have it. I'll have to double check. But I never ordered any more books for the my PaperPie stuff, and so now I'm like, oh, I'm so sad. I know it's not too late, but it is kind of too late for me because I got it all planned out. The Stonewalker is gonna be getting read very soon. I can't wait for that one. And Sisters of Summer End is over here. And Midnight Feast, which I have through the library right now, and I have 4 days with it, so I'm going to be listening to that like today, tomorrow. Now I'm going to get all of the books that that are on next to my bed and add the ones that are over here to the big pile. So give me a second. Okay. So I have this fun pile of books next to my bed. I just added the two on top. Okay, so let's talk about these. I'm adding the Sisters of Summer End. This book has a book from. Oh, okay. It's got 6 chapters for the next book in it. Apparently, it has 373 pages and this much extra of 2 other books. So this is going on my. It's going to be one of the first ones that I pick up after the ones that I've already started. So I'm going to put that over here and hope it doesn't fall. And then Stonewalker, this looks like it's going to be a quick read. It's got 151 pages. Yeah. And so I might just zoom through this real fast. I don't think this is one I'm going to read with my kid. So I believe this is the last book in Fruits Basket Another. It's a manga, and I'm kind of sad. If this is the last one, then I know I just ruined it by looking. It says the end at the end. So I will be reading this one and finding out how they end. I'm reading The Heat Wave. I'm not very far in. I think I'm on chapter 1 still. Finished chapter 1. It's in parts, so I'm still on part 1. Oh man, that means does it have those where I have to go through and count the chapters? Oh, it is. It's not good. The chapters are not labeled, so I'm gonna have to go through and count the chapters. That's so sad. More work. But this is Heat Wave, and I've started it, so I'll probably finish this one before I pick up Sisters of Summer End. It looks like there's only 341 pages in this. Wait, that might not be. Oh, that's the afterword. 338 pages in this. So, yeah. It feels like we're having a heat wave right now. I am working my way slowly through everything eventual. I need to put this on my Goodreads and my story graph so that I can track how far I've gone. I'm in the middle of the second story in this book. I've also might need to make a page and do everything in pencil so I can write down my thoughts on each little story so that whenever I get all the way to the back, I won't forget about this first story. It was interesting. Um yeah. I have the wrong hostage sitting next to my bed because eventually I'm going to get to it. I do want to read this, but I'm just not feeling this, like, I don't know. Hey, there's some Spanish in this book. It's like a detective story, and I'm not sure if that's something I'm wanting to read right now. Kenzie and Max breaking news. This one is kind of long, but afterward, I don't have it. I sat next to my kid's bed. My kid and I are reading Operation Robot Storm right now for bed. So after we're done with that one, we're gonna move on to this one. And yeah, I heard that this is like Spy Kids, but less, more detective-y and less spy-y, or like fighty. I don't know. This one I definitely do want to read. I think I've already read this one, to be honest. So if I start this and I've already read it, I might not read it again. I might just be like, oh yeah, and like skim through. Um, because every time I read the back of the book, I'm like, this sounds so familiar. And I think I did this a few years ago for a different reading challenge. I need to go check. And then of course, I have Princess Bride still hanging out next to my bed. It's been next to my bed so much it's dusty. Um, I I know I'll get to it eventually, but every time I think about it, the names are so scary. I'm afraid. Every time I look in, there's someone's name pops out, and I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce that. And then I have Delicious in Dungeon, book six over here. And of course, I have to read this one. It's a manga, and I'm just loving the whole series. So that is what I'm working my way through right now. And then plus whatever the Goodreads challenges bring, which I'm so excited. I can't wait to look at those. Yeah. Uh, my book is so puffy. Um, After the 10 that I'm doing now, I'm gonna start where the pictures are on the bottom instead of the top. I should have alternated them. I should have been like, okay, this page the picture's gonna be here, and this page the picture's gonna be, so that it was more evened out. But I didn't. You live, you learn. Um, so that's what I've got going on. I'm excited for my July TBR. I'm excited for the videos I have coming up. Um, Next week, there's a summer ween video, and I'm working on making a like a little first grade health curriculum video that what I'm going to be using for my kids' first grade health stuff. And um obviously I'm going to have what's it called? Midnight Feast is going to be a fast one because it's already queued up and ready to go. I was just waiting for today to start it. Today, I'm making this video on July 1st, so I can finally officially start listening to it. And so that video will be coming soon. And then, like I said, the Stonewalker, I'm not going to read that one with my kid. I'll read that one. That'll be like a day or two. So those videos will come up pretty quickly. And I was thinking of showing off what I did for my kids' spelling work for next year. Yeah. And what I might not do next year. We'll see. So I've got thoughts, and then I also have a video that I want to make about some of the first question books, the Lift the Flap books that we have, and that's my kid loves them, and I just want to keep getting them. So many things are coming up, and it's summertime, and I gotta prepare for my birthday and her birthday because our birthdays are in the beginning of August, so gotta start preparing for those. And we have more dinosaur stuff to do because July is still dinosaur camp, if you will, and fun times. So I'm going to leave this video here. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you've gotten this far, you probably should subscribe. This was a pretty long video because it was my update on my reading journal. And yeah, if you're not sure if you want to subscribe, you can click my face bubble and it'll take you to my channel. If my face bubble doesn't pop up, you can click my name, A Coffee Drinker's Review. I don't know what side it's going to be on. I feel like it's going to be over here, but it could be over here. Underneath the, you know, where my name is. And go check out my other videos to see if I'm someone that you want to keep watching. And I say and I'm just a person, okay? I do not script these. I don't know if I could stay on script if I did script these. And life gets messy, so I just leave it most of the time. And if I'm not someone that you can watch, that is perfectly okay. But what was that saying? I'm not everyone's shot of whiskey. Or I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I want to be someone's shot of whiskey. I can't remember how the saying was, but I was like, yes. Except I'm not everyone's cup of coffee. Because coffee is my life. I don't know what else to talk about. Share this video because someone else might need ideas on what they should be reading for summer. And if any of the books that I suggested pop out at you and you're like, ooh, that, I'll leave it in the description, a list of all of the books and an Amazon link to go get them or a PaperPie link to go get them, depending on which website I got them from. I am a consultant for both of those, so if you go and get the book using my link, and it's my name as your branding partner or associate, I believe is what it's called, then I get a few pennies. And pennies add up. So I appreciate it if you do buy something from one of the links. And if not, that's perfectly okay. Just give me a thumbs up so I know that you were here. And comment below, have you read any of these books? What were your thoughts on the books? And what are you reading for July? Because I'm always looking for recommendations myself. So I will see you on my next video. Bye!